The Dreamcast is one of my favorite consoles of all times, with a crap ton of solid titles. But what are my favorites? I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today I count down my top 10 Dreamcast games.
Second Opinion Games.
To start things off, I'll have to mention that I'm not much of an RPG guy. That means Skies of Arcadia is not going to be on this list, even though it is phenomenal, and Grandia too. Also, I don't have another person to play with on a regular basis, otherwise Soul Calibur will definitely be here, as well as a crap ton of the other fighting games, excluding Mortal Kombat Gold. That means most of the games I'm looking at are arcade ports, or games that feel like I'm playing in an arcade, and maybe a smidge of action-adventure. So, let's start the list now. Number 10, Draconis, Cult of the Worm. This is that smidge of action-adventure I was talking about. You could choose between a man who's super powerful or a woman who's good at casting spells. I always go with the man power because you never can run out of sword swinging, but you can run out of magic. And in this epic game, it's broken up by different chapters, which are narrated ahead of time by one of those guys from the History Channel, or maybe the Ancient Aliens guy. Anyway, the gameplay is just as good as the voiceovers here, with hacking and slashing, running from point to point, collecting everything in sight, and powering up to take on dragons by the end of the game, way before Skyrim did it. Draconis Cult of the Worm is one of the best action-adventure games of its type, even if it does feel a little wonky here and there. I wish they would remake this game for people today, because it's just plain awesome. Number 9, House of the Dead 2. I absolutely love light gun games. However, my game room isn't fully set up quite yet because of the remodel thing. That means I have to play with a controller, so you would think I would absolutely hate playing with a controller now, but no, I got one of those newfangled ones with the turbo buttons, so it's basically I have a machine gun running through this game, and I am finding stuff that I have never found before, and I have played House of the Dead a crap ton. Also on this list, I would like to say Typing of the Dead, for those people that are really good at typing. My wife plows through the game and can conquer on a single life. However, even with my machine gun, sometimes I'm still getting hit, which is why this is probably also one of the most punishingly difficult games, but it really isn't. You just fly through it, destroying zombies. It is a ton of fun from start to finish, and if you have a friend, it's also going to be a ton of fun as well. Number 8, Soul Reaver. This is the sequel to the Legacy of Kain series that starred on the PlayStation 1. Well, that first game was a little rough around the edges. They completely smoothed it out for the Dreamcast. You don't play as a vampire here, you play as a Soul Reaver, which means you could never die. You could just go back to another world and absorb more energy and then just continue the fight from there. There are huge worlds here, massive portals to send you from place to place because, my god, the whole world is massive. And when I played through it the first time, I didn't even know there were human villages in this game with little side stories to pick up more magical spells, and then I had to go out and buy the official manual for this game to find all the great secrets that are around every corner. It also has that guy from the History Channel doing some narration all over again, and the voice acting here is even better than Draconis Cult of the Worm, and so is the gameplay. Your enemies just don't go down by hacking and slashing them. Instead, you have to plan ahead by catching them on fire or impaling them and then devouring their souls. The boss battles are all mini puzzles in themselves. I think there was only 3 or 4 of them throughout the entire game, and it ends on a massive cliffhanger, but this is one of the best action-adventure games of its type. Number 7, hey, Crazy Taxi is definitely for me. No, I stay away from Crazy Taxi 2, even though it has the Crazy Hop, because I don't like any of the characters in Crazy Taxi 2. Also, I prefer the Crazy Taxi 1 music a little bit better, with some hardcore rock and Offspring to really get me in the mood. Also, you can put in a couple of cheats to find out some really cool stuff, and that also can boost my score to be at number 1, so that you could actually beat this game. I didn't know you could until I started cheating on it, and then I just started plowing through it no problem. This is one that I could always throw in for about 10-15 minutes at a time, and then take it out, and then the next month, jump right into it all over again. And also, I love the characters in this game. I know I already said it, but it definitely needs repeated. And the controls are so freaking buttery awesome. You can smash into everything, and when you pull off a perfect combo, you feel like a total stud. Number 6, Cannon Spike. This is like a Capcom love letter. You got Mega Man, King Arthur himself from the Ghosts and Goblins series, heck, even Cammy's here, and you better believe Little Red Riding Hood's here with her Uzi to mow down people in the Capcom universe, like zombies from Resident Evil, or Vega from the Street Fighter series. And sometimes you can even take down an alligator or a zombie giant monkey. This game rocks on nearly every level. Sometimes it feels like a twin-stick shooter, other times you're just trying to blow up giant mech robots while snowboarding. This just helps you remember of when Capcom was good and where did it all go wrong for such a promising company to turn it around and start making crap or making nothing at all. We need more of this, Capcom. Come on, just give the people what they want. And that is more of Cammy's awesome assets. Number 5, Silent Scope. One of the most over-the-top arcade games comes home perfectly to the Sega Dreamcast. Of course, you could always play with your light gun, which I don't even know how this works on a freaking CRT, but I'd much rather be playing with the Dreamcast mouse for a little bit more added accuracy. Whether or not you want to do headshots to gain extra time, or just kill a whole bunch of people with the Sega Dreamcast mouse, you are guaranteed to have a great time checking out hot babes, putting on your night vision goggles, and assaulting a mansion. One time when I was in the arcade, I saw a guy pick up the sniper rifle and headshot his entire way through the game. Now, you know this guy was either a professional or one heck of a psychopath, and that's how I start to feel when I play this. Even though it is super over the top, in a game where it forces you to take a shot once every couple seconds or so, you would not believe how much it gets your heart racing, and that's why it is definitely one of the best Dreamcast games. Number 4, Jet Grind Radio, the game that still looks good because it pioneered cel-shaded graphics. I almost kind of think that Sega should have held on to this one until after the PS2 launch, just so they could show how much better the Dreamcast was over the PlayStation 2, because they were years away from doing anything like this. Also, I'm not a big fan of skateboarding games or even rollerblading games, but this completely won me over. Heck, you could even go onto the internet and download custom graffiti. And if you think the police overreacted to things in real life, boy, do they ever overreact here by sending a guy at you to shoot you dead even though you're just a kid trying to mark your territory. Or maybe attack helicopters where they fire freaking missiles at you. Now, the thing I don't like about this the most is you have to find every little marker to track down, but that does mean you're gonna be exploring this huge world, grinding on everything, performing tons of tricks, and meeting new friends along the way. And that's what graffiti's about anyway, meeting new friends. Well, that and just tagging everything like a crazy animal. Number 3, Under the Feet. Boy, did the Dreamcast have a lot of great shooters, and Under the Feet is arguably the most beautiful one. Heck, I think it still looks great to this very day. Of course, if they released it on the Xbox One or PlayStation 5, I would buy it again. Heck, I did buy it again for the PlayStation 3 because it took that system to harness the power of the Dreamcast in order to just recreate this game with all of its magnificent slowdown. Of course, helicopters are one of the coolest vehicles of all time, and the fact that you could swivel back and forth just a little bit, allowing you to dodge the missiles that are coming right at you, and then you have a supercharged bomb that lets you level everything in sight, taking on tanks or giant battleships. This is ridiculously difficult, and even though I can't make it very far in this game, I always come back to it because of how gorgeous and outright fun it is. Under the Feet is definitely one of the best shooters of all times and deserves a spot on this list. Number 2, Maken X. It's a first-person hack-and-slash sword fighting game. That's something you don't see every day. Heck, the PS2 got a version of it, but they made it third-person, and they also completely broke this game, because as it plays on the Dreamcast, it's just fine. There are also multiple endings in here, and tons of different characters that you could brain jack into, each with their own special moves, and then you want to dodge and parry and block, and sometimes jump completely over your enemy and slice and hack them down. If you play through in a certain way, you could even have a final boss playing against the President of the United States in a giant boxing ring. That sounds completely ridiculous, and it is, because that's just how over the top this game is. Sure, the story is downright nonsensical, but I just can't stop playing, trying to get every single ending. Heck, even speedrunners tear through this game in less than a half hour, or if you want to play through at your own pace, you have like 8 hours before your first playthrough is even anywhere close to being done. And it really showcases the janky awesomeness of the Dreamcast's graphical power that I absolutely love. Everything that I appreciate about the Dreamcast's graphics are perfectly showcased in this experience, and the controls are as good as you could possibly get with just one analog stick. Number 1, Zero Gunner 2. That's right, another helicopter shooting game. Only this time, instead of swiveling around just a little bit from side to side, you can go a full 360 degrees. The graphics are realistic in their own way, and then when you take on massive battleships or tanks here, then they later transform into giant mechs that try to blow you out of the sky, and this definitely takes the place as the best shooter for the Dreamcast, and possibly ever made. I definitely believe it deserves a spot with all of the all-time greats, and the fact that you can adjust the level of difficulty to fit your own playstyle and how bad you are at shoot-em-ups is a welcome relief, because now I can finally see more than just 3 levels into a shoot-em-up. And I really love this one from start to finish because of it. And the fact that there's collectibles all over the screen all the time, and you never confuse them with the missiles and bombs that are trying to take you out, it is definitely for me, dog. The controls are even so smooth how you could spin your helicopter around. It won me over from the first second that I played it, and it is the reason I will always have a Dreamcast hooked up in my house at all times, meaning that I have like 5 Dreamcasts. And this might go down as the best Dreamcast game of all times. But of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching.
You beat Bowman?
Sure, no problem.
Ah, you are a great warrior.
Yes, I know.
You come talk to leader. Follow me.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this list. I had a great time making it because the Dreamcast is one of the coolest systems of all times. I think I'd rather be playing the Dreamcast over like anything else in my game room, and playing a little Under Defeat or Zero Gunner 2 is something that I'm just always gonna do. Crazy Taxi is just so insane, and sometimes I like to use the steering wheel, but I think the controls work just fine on the Dreamcast itself. And even though I don't enjoy every Dreamcast game, I certainly respect more of them than like any other console has. Even their bad games tend to be good ones. So if you want to see me do a list that I actually hated doing, well then check out my bad Dreamcast games, and then you can tell me how horrible I am for hating one of the best systems of all times. Even though I don't hate it at all. I love it. So until later, I will see you again.